Hey guys, welcome to the Own Your Time podcast. Today we have Chris Salerno. So thanks for coming on, Chris.
Kyle, thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited about it.
Awesome. Well, yeah, Chris is 24. He actually at by 24, he had transacted over $40 million in real estate, and he was named as Charlotte's 30 under 30 and even nominated for the Forbes 30 under 30. So that's a very impressive little resume that we gave you there. Kind of just give us your background as to how you got to kind of where you are in this moment.
Yeah, great question. I get asked this a lot. And I started out in the single family industry, selling single family real estate as a broker here in the Carolinas. Very quickly from there, I was able to scale the business, and I ended up running the number one team in the Carolinas and was able to make them 46% profitable. After, feeling and, networking throughout the top of the industry and understanding, the ins and outs of growing a large team like that, I really felt like I hit a ceiling. Yeah, seeing everyone else who's doing a 400, even over $1 billion in sales a year, I still felt like I hit a ceiling. So I started really thinking back to my goals, and I realized playing the game Monopoly, you're not brokeraging real estate. And I knew I needed to own real estate to build wealth. So what I did was I studied between '08 and 2012 what asset class was the strongest, and it was multifamily because it's a necessity. We need shelter as humans. So from there, I said I'm going to be an expert at it, and I started listening to podcasts, started watching YouTube videos, reading books, and then I got in touch with Joe Fairless, which is my personal coach, and I started scaling my business very quickly. So within about 7 months, we were able to have ownership of a little over 40 million and 364 units. So very excited about that. And this year, our goal is a minimum of 100 million.
Wow. Well, that's a meteoric rise. Some of the questions I kind of want to ask are, number one, let's go back to when you were a single family broker. How are
Okay.
you leading teams? What are you kind of your leadership role? Because it sounds like at a young age, you were able to kind of galvanize quite a bit of people around your kind of viewpoint and your vision for them. So how did you go about doing that?
Yeah, great question. So I'm a big believer in adding value. Always add value, and for the individuals that work with us, they have added value to the company. Which then, once that happened, I knew that they needed to be a part of the company. So when I first got into it, I started. I love analyzing businesses on why they failed, why they succeeded, the ins and outs of them, and I had a passion for it. So when I really fell into that role, I started studying the P&L, and from there I said, look, we need to cut these type of expenses. We need to gain this type of marketing. We need to train these agents this type of way. And I was able to do so. I had over 8 agents just in the Charlotte area that was under my belt for me training them. And then I had 3 across the United States. So with that, I was able to really, from all the knowledge that I gained previously, I was able to pour the knowledge into them, which made them produce at a higher level, which made the company grow.
Wow, so it sounds like you made sure you found the right people too, because no matter how good your teaching is, sometimes you don't have the right people who are value focused, then it doesn't really move forward. So I like that. And then kind of towards the multifamily rung, what did you kind of do to get into those deals? Did you bring the money yourself, or did you partner with people? How'd you kind of go about that?
Yeah, great question. I partnered with individuals and was able to add value when it came to underwriting, when it came to touring assets, when it came to due diligence. You name it, I found a way to add value. So that is what is definitely projected me, or excuse me, projected us to where we are today.
Awesome, man. Yeah, adding value. And I think that we should really touch on adding value because sometimes people kind of gloss over it as this term because it has been written in some of the books lately that have been bestsellers, but it really is a ground like basis to business. And I think that adding value just means doing something like to promote someone else's business. And maybe even if that's not beneficial to you, but just because it's lifting up everybody. And then as the tide rises, all boats kind of come to that level. So I really like that. And I kind of want to touch on some of the similarities that me and you actually have in our background. So
Yeah.
you were a athlete actually in college. Is that correct?
Yes, I ran track, so I was a 60, 100, 4x1, 200. So I was a
Nice.
sprinter. Yeah.
Nice. Fast guy. Yeah. Geez. What's
Yeah.
your, what are some of your times?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I know I was running like I think like a 10.7, 10.8 in the 100.
Wow.
I can't remember. It's been what, 5 or no, it's been 6 years. Yeah, it's been 6 years. So
Oh, wow. Where'd you go to school?
Winthrop University. So when went to school at Winthrop University, I only studied for a year and a half. I was actually a walk on to the team, and I was actually outperforming the individuals that got scholarships.
Mhm.
So the second year, I was going to get a scholarship, but I decided to leave college because I knew college was the best business there was, and that's when I hopped into my real estate journey. From that, I actually now I mentor. This is my fourth year, going on the fourth year, mentoring the business department for my previous college. So I always love to give back and add value to people. So that's why I do it.
That's great. They have a dropout telling kids how to go to their school. That's amazing. I love
Yeah,
that.
I know.
I actually dropped out of UC Davis and was playing soccer there too. So that's just why I wanted to kind of touch on some of the
Yeah, I
similarities.
like it. Very
Yeah.
good. Very good.
The second year I dropped out as well. So it's interesting. But I do
Good.
kind of want to touch on something about I've noticed from you just from afar, being in the industry is I see you on social media quite a bit. You seem to pop
Mhm.
up on my feed more than anyone else. And I always see
Good.
your videos. Yeah, I always see your videos on you in the car, even like you just went to LA, and I know that. And just because you're posting on social media. So, what's your strategy as far as social media is concerned?
Oh my goodness, it's a full-time job. Social media is hectic, and I just joined about 3 weeks ago TikTok. It is a younger demographic, so I'm not too heavily on that platform. My main platform's LinkedIn, Facebook, and I'm actually doing a webinar tomorrow on social media. But it's LinkedIn, Facebook, and Bigger Pockets is my main platform, and Instagram's up there as well. But Twitter and TikTok, I'm not too active on. But it's a full-time job, and going back to what we said earlier, it's all about how you add value. If you follow me on any of those sites, you will see that I'm adding a ton of value to you. If it's in regards to understanding how a syndication works, understanding how to create a deal, understanding the market, the Carolina market, what to do, what not to do. So it's very important to just add value to people, and that's what I try to do, is add tremendous value to people to help them in this space, because the majority of my connections, and our connections for the company are on those platforms. And it just adding value to individuals goes a long way. So that's, I think, what has definitely helped and projected our visibility and presence on these social media platforms.
And how did you kind of get over the initial? Because I know that you kind of just started out in multifamily as well, but
Yeah.
how do you get over that initial like imposter syndrome almost of like, do I deserve to be posting this content? Like, how do you kind of get over that?
You just got to post it. You don't get, I mean, sometimes you don't get over it. There's sometimes I may think of twice about something, but I just post it, and if someone has something to say, I know I post something about the stock market. As we all know, interest rates actually just fell today, even more, and the stock market's going downhill because of that virus that we have going on. I posted something about that, and someone commented, and was trying to bicker back and forth with me. But people like those type of discussions. And when you go back and forth with someone, you have to do it professionally. But when you go back and forth with people, other people read those comments, and I can't tell you how many likes I got on the last comment that I sent to him, on that post, and no one, he hasn't commented since, but a lot of people read it, and they see you as a market expert when you know what you're doing and when you know what you're talking about. But before you even do that, if I haven't, I mean, if you look, I just really ramped everything up in the last 6 to 7 months on social media, because that's when I felt like I became a market expert, and that I became an expert in this field. Now, or one of an experts. You're always growing knowledge, so you're always going to need to be a sponge to soak up all the knowledge, because everything's changing on a daily basis. But when you post any type of thing on any social media platform, you just have to go do it. Don't worry about what people say, because there's going to be one person out there that's not going to like what you say. And if you let that one person stop you, then I mean, that's stopping you from reaching your goals.
Yeah, that's true. And honestly, people are probably not going to like you whether you post it or not, right? There's always going to be people who dislike you a little
Look at
bit.
Grant Cardone. Some
Exactly.
people a lot of people hate him, a lot of people like him. Because he has a huge following. But as you grow like that, it's just you're gonna get caught. Some people are not gonna like you, some people are. So
Yeah, that's a great point. And then I kind of want to pivot here into something about your time. So I know that you have a
mm.
family who you're very involved with. So did real estate kind of free that up for you? And is that something that you see as a big benefit in real estate?
Great question. Real estate did free it up, but it all comes down to your goals. We have huge goals here with the company, and we know that to achieve those goals, we have to work extremely hard to achieve those goals. So me personally, I work a lot. I'd say minimum 10, 12 hours a day. I like to take Sundays off. I may have a couple meetings here or there in person with investors on Sunday, but I like to take Sundays off and Saturday afternoons to spend time with the family. But I know for a lot of individuals who invest alongside of us and individuals who are in the multifamily space, it's definitely given them that freedom to go ahead and spend more time with family or do what they love to do. I know a couple people I just saw that they're traveling the world, and that's what they love to do. So that's what passive income from real estate creates, is that financial freedom. It doesn't lock you down, so it's important.
And so what are some of those big goals at QC Capital?
Yeah, great question. So within 7 years, we look to have over $1 billion under management, or this year we look to have a minimum of 100 million under management. So those are our that's our really our overall goal. We know here that the more money that you are able to create, the more people you can help. We have big hearts and we have charities that we like to donate to. So we know that we need to work very hard to make sure that we can accumulate a certain net worth to then go ahead and give back our time and our money to charities that we care about.
That's awesome, man. And as far as goal setting is concerned, how do you kind of go about finding these numbers? Are they arbitrary? Or are they somewhat, in the perfect stretch zone? Or how do you kind of, quantify goals?
Great question. So, quantifying goals, I use a SMART system. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but the SMART system, it's SMART, SMART. So it's simple, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time. That's the SMART system, the SMART goal that I've coached individuals on and that I give out. And we use that here. And as the company grows, I want to make sure that, as being the sole principal of the company, I want to make sure the umbrella is so big that it can fit everyone who is a part of QC Capital. It can fit their goals as well. So they're not feeling capped out like I did, and that we can all grow together as a company.
That's amazing, man. I really like that system quite a bit. I think I've heard something similar to that, but not that exact thing. So that's awesome. As far as you as a person, how does real estate fit into the bigger picture of who you see yourself or your purpose or your kind of bigger overarching theme for your life?
I always say and joke that I'll be in this business next 100 years. I enjoy it. I love it. Just I'm in love with real estate. I mean, it's different. It's always going to be there. And if you're definitely focusing on multifamily, it's a necessity. And I love when people chat with me about this because they're like, "Well, the market's going to crash. We're going into a recession. This, that, this, that." Well, we need shelter. No matter what, we need shelter. And if you really focus on an asset class, especially multifamily, where you have one roof and 50 people under it, the numbers just make sense. I came from a single family real estate background. The numbers just make sense. So I highly recommend looking into multifamily because of that.
And then to wrap this up a little bit, I kind of want to talk about maybe a tale in the trenches. So that's something we do here on the Own Your Time podcast, where we try to get into the nitty gritty of someone's real estate business, because oftentimes we get all the sunshine and roses stories, and I kind of want to get into some times where you felt a little tested, but you came out on top.
Definitely, I would say it was my first ever deal I've done. Going into it, you think you can raise the amount that is needed to raise, but the key is to ensure that you have great business partners with you to help back you to build that accreditation for you, which I definitely feel has been a tremendous stepping stone when getting started in multifamily real estate, especially for us. Is that the individuals who we were able to partner with has definitely helped us get to where we are today. And for anyone who is getting into the space, you can't do it alone. You need to partner with great people, great operators to one boost you on your first couple deals. So I think that's definitely a big help. Was when I first went into it, I didn't raise the amount I thought I could. I ensured myself that I was able to network with the closest people around me that ended up being my business partners on the deal, that were able to help secure that and help close that gap. And we were able to fully fund it and get it closed in time, and everyone was happy. So I definitely recommend, building strong relationships. And that's a little story about myself, how I overcame something and came out on top.
Awesome, man. I think something to really focus in on that story is the fact that you kind of started without knowing for sure that you were going to be able to complete that task. And when you kind of jump off ledges like that in life, you tend to get some help. It really is just about taking a risk and believing in yourself. So super awesome that you did that, Chris.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram, Chris_Salerno_. We do have a closed Facebook group, which is our podcast, the Mindful Multifamily Network. That's where you can find me and other individuals who are guests on the Mindful Multifamily show. And you can network alongside them, and you can network alongside of myself. But if you just search any platform, Chris Salerno, you'll be able to search me up and get in contact with me.
Awesome, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kyle, for having me. I'm super excited about it.